This is Steve McDonald. Steve is a native of Maine and has been a registered guide here for over 30 years. He's hunted and fished since he was a youngster growing up in the town of Gray. He served as a draftee in the Army during the Vietnam War, and most of his working life has been spent as a brick mason and as a logger. He comes from a logging family and has always had a strong interest in the outdoors. He now lives and guides out of his home in the town of Norway. The Norway area, which was originally closed to moose hunting, has recently been opened to the annual Maine moose hunt. Several years ago, Steve began trying his luck at calling in moose, and over the years has been able to develop the skill with great success. A film crew from Connecticut hired him to call in moose for a hunter from Ohio who would want a permit to take a moose in the Maine Moose Lottery. Steve called in a large bull for this shooter, and the hunt later appeared to rave reviews on the New England Sports Network cable channel. So now Steve is offering his moose calling skills to moose hunters, photographers, and anyone who would like to view moose in the wild. This moose you see Steve calling in here was in the town of Greenville, Maine. Steve spotted his tracks one day during the rut season and was able to early the next morning call him in using his grunt and cow calls and horn scraping calls. The big bull first responded within about 20 minutes of when Steve began calling. According to the Maine Department of Inland Fisheries and Wildlife, the moose herd in Maine numbers about 30,000 animals now, and appears to be remaining steady in spite of the nearly 3,000 being taken every year in the hunt. However, careful observers have noted that the herd is becoming generally more shy and wild than it had been before the hunt was begun back in the early 1980s. Obviously, the tamer strain of moose has been harvested out of the herd, and those remaining are a good deal more shy than they were previous to the hunt, when it was much easier to get a look at one. So now a great deal more patience and effort is needed to get close to a moose in the wild. You seldom see a moose today standing tamely in the road. So calling one in can often be the best way to get an up-close look. This usually works best in the months of September and October during the annual moose rutting season. Please give Steve a call at the number on the screen if you're interested in talking further about having him guide you to a moose, whether it be for a hunt with a rifle or with a camera, or just for the enjoyment of observing one of these remarkable creatures in their natural environment. Steve works cheap. Since he's now retired from the workaday world, he has a very flexible schedule.